Hey Friendswood JV, if you don't already know me, my name is Sam and I'm going to be teaching you how to apply your 2019 Winterguard show makeup. Let's get started. Before we start, I need to let you guys know what I've already done to my face so far. I've applied my foundation, concealer where I needed it. I also applied my concealer to my eyelids to act as a base for the eyeshadow. And I've also filled in my brows. I just used a brow pencil for that. I didn't do anything too crazy. I just filled in my natural brows. And that was it. I haven't put on any powder yet or anything else, so let's get started. Luckily for you guys, this will probably be one of the easiest, most stress-free makeup looks you'll do throughout your color guard career. So I'm pretty excited about that for you guys. We're going to start out with the eyes, and we're going to be using the Makeup Revolution Reloaded Vitality Palette. And I got so excited when I found this because look at all the shades in here. You get so many eyeshadows for $7, and they're really great eyeshadows for their price. So I'm super excited that you guys get to have this, and you can even use it for everyday makeup or whatever else you want to use in your life. But I think this is a really great palette that you guys all will now get to have. The first eyeshadow we're going to be using, we're going to apply into the crease. So you have a lot of neutrals to choose from in here, and I just want you to choose whatever is the closest to your skin tone. For me, it's going to be this shadow right here. I think is a good base for the crease. We also have this warmer brown, this brown, and you might be able to get away with this one or this one as well. So you have options here. Just choose one that's going to be a good neutral base for the crease. And for that, I'm just using a big fluffy blending brush, and we're going to run that through the crease. So for this, I start by doing small side-to-side motions in the crease here, and then I drag it in along that crease. And it doesn't have to be too precise because it's just our base blend for the crease. Once you get a decent amount of color applied there in the crease, I just go back in circle motions to blend that out. We don't want any harsh lines. The next shade we're going to be using is this pink shade, and you only want to take a little bit on your brush. I've switched to a smaller blending brush. This is just your average eyeshadow blending brush. And this is because we're going to define the crease a little bit more with this shade, bring some warmth in. So we're going to start in the outer part of that crease, side to side, and then pull it in on the crease. And if you have a monolid or hooded lids, just do the best that you can. Try and find where you think that crease would look nice, make your eye look bigger, or if you have the hooded lid, bring it just a little bit above that natural crease. And this shade's gonna kind of help tie in with the blush that we're adding on later. We're gonna be using quite a bit of blush to give us a nice, beautiful, pure look. I heard that's the look we're going for, is pure. So hopefully you guys can tell by now that we have defined the crease a little bit more with that pink shade, but we also haven't made it disperse as far as the first shade that we used. And we can also tell that it hasn't come down too far on the lid because we don't want it to be mixing in with the other shades. The next two shades that we're going to be using is this pink highlight shade and also this golden highlight shade. So what I like to do is take a flat packing brush, and I do 2 swipes here and 2 swipes here. And that usually helps me mix in the color pretty well on my eyelid. So we're going to take this and we're going to pack that on to just the inner half of the eyelid. And you need to make sure you don't take it higher than the crease. And if you need to reload your brush, 2 swipes in the lighter pink shade and then 2 swipes in the golden shade. So this eyeshadow shade isn't coming out as bright and as luminous as I'd like it to. So I'm going to load up my brush again with the eyeshadow, and once you have all the shadow packed on there, you're going to take water or setting spray, something of that sort, and spray it 3 times for good measure. I just made that up. And then we're going to pack it on the lid in that same area, and it should look a lot less powdery and a lot more bright. And if you don't think your brush is wet enough, just add a couple more spritz. If you don't want to buy the setting spray or water or whatever, that's totally fine. You can just run it under the sink really quick, but you have to make sure it's only a little bit damp and not soaking wet. Now we have that color on the inner half of the lid, and then we're going to be going back to that blending brush we used to apply the pink. I just dusted it off. It's okay if it has a little bit of excess, and we're going to go in and take that crease color, the first shade that you use, and you're going to blend this in to that outer corner, just to act as a base, because we're going to layer some darker colors over here on this outer corner. Pull that in through the crease. Try and knock off any of the metallic shade off that crease. Next shade that we're going to be using is this kind of burnt orange terracotta shade right next to the black. Take a small amount of that on your brush. We're going to place this on the outer corner. Start at the very outer corner, very small circles. And we're going to pull that in to the crease a little bit. Blend in circles. And then pull it into the crease just a little bit. Now I'm just adding more color and repeating the same steps. And any of that excess shade, I just flick it out. Are you done yet? Ow, Abby. Next we're going to be taking this dark brown shade, that same blending brush, and we're going to put this in the very outer corner, and this is where we're really going to build up some of the intenseness of the eyeshadow look. So small circle motions in the small outer corner, in the outer corner, and blend it upwards into the crease, deepen that out, and we'll repeat those same steps. Next step, I'm going to be taking this small pencil brush and we're going to wet it just a little bit because we already know how those metallic shades are going to work. We're going to take the pink shade here in the middle and we're going to apply this to the inner corner. So we're going to apply it right there and then pull it up into the eyeshadow color so we have a nice blend. Whatever that first shade you use for the crease, we're going to put that on the lower lash line. Before we move on, if you have any fallout underneath your eyes, I have a little bit of the brown right here. All you have to do is take pretty much any clean brush and flick that shadow up and it won't stick to your foundation unless you have a really wet foundation, but for me it's just coming off. So I'm going to take what we have on that pencil brush and connect it to that outer corner on the top and drag that onto the lower lash line, but we do not want a heavy lower lash line by any means. Next step, curl your eyelashes if you need to, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply a really light layer of mascara to my top and bottom lashes. I'm basically just applying this for color purposes, so my lashes match the false lashes we're about to apply. For the next step, we're going to be applying our false lashes. So I have the Ardell Demi Wispies. You can get the mink ones, the regular ones, I don't care, but I think these are a really great style of lashes and they're not too much because we don't need a ton of lash for this look. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to size these to your eyes. For me personally, I know that I have to trim down the lash in length to fit my eye. So how you do that is you're gonna take the lash from your box or whatever and you're gonna lay it down on your lid, size it out, what looks comfortable, what looks good. Obviously there's not gonna be any glue on it just yet. You're gonna lay it down, size up how much you need to trim, or maybe you don't need to trim it. If you're going to trim it, you wanna make sure that you take your scissors and you cut from the band side of the lash, not the lash side of the lash. We don't want to cut any extra lashes off or change the shape of the lash. So you want to cut from this side approximately how much you need. Then from there, we're going to do a light layer of the lash glue on the back of the band. You're going to let it get tacky, wait about 30 to 45 seconds, and then you're going to go ahead and apply the lash, and we'll skip over to that now, jump in with my lash ready to go. So once you think the glue is tacky enough on the lash, I like to take my lash and just bend it, make sure that it's going to be ready to curve to my eye shape. And if you have an eyelash applicator or tweezers, that makes it a little bit easier. You can use your fingers, they work just fine. So I like to go from a high 45-degree angle and lay it down on top of that lash line, and then I go in with my fingers and I press the lash to my lash line. Once you have your lashes on, just make sure you push them upwards so they're nice and open. If they're hanging flat or anything lower than a 45-degree angle, they're pretty much going to make your eyes look a little heavier and darker. So just make sure you keep pushing up those lashes so you get a nice look. Abby won't leave me alone. For the next step, we're going to be using some glitter liner and adding some extra stuff onto the eyes. We're going to take our glitter liner, and you're going to have to layer this on just because it is a little bit sheer, so I wait for it to dry and then just add another layer. So first we're going to be doing our first line right at that crease we made. So start at the inner corner, trace along that crease, and then I pull it up higher than the crease, and we kind of let it fade off right over the middle area of the eye. Hopefully you guys can see that. We're also going to trace underneath the brow bone, so I'm starting at the arch and I'm tracing all the way down through the tail end of my brow. And don't worry, we're going to go back and layer over all of this. And then the third one is going to be right on this inner corner, and we're just doing one little section right there. Hopefully you guys can see all those. I'm trying to move so the light catches some of it, but now I'm going to go over them and make them a little bit more glittery, a little less sheer. So really load up that brush. You can let this dry and go over it as many times as you need. When I'm repeating the other side, I like to just hold my mirror straight out in front of me so I can make them at least a little bit symmetrical if I can. Now that we have the glitter on the eyes, we're going to move on to the rest of the face. I'm going to be taking my bronzer, and we're just going to be using a tiny amount of this. We don't want to look chiseled or anything. We just want to add a little bit of warmth. So I'm going to add a little bit of this to my forehead, just near my hairline and from temple to temple. Very light, like I said. Now we're going to take it up the cheekbone, so that's going to be about right here, and I like to go a little bit higher than that so it doesn't sink too low. You want to keep it more like right along the edge of that cheekbone, and I push that all the way up into the hairline and around just a little bit. Also, if you're like me and your foundation never matches the rest of your body, take that down to the neck. No shame in the game. Next up, we're going to be highlighting. So I have just a big fluffy brush, a lot of movement happening in these bristles, and we're going to be using those metallic highlight shades from the palette again. So I'm just going to spritz my brush beforehand, shake it off. We don't want it to be too damp because then it's going to look really cakey on our cheekbones. So I'm going to be taking a mix of these two shades. You might have to change up what shades you use depending on your skin tone. That's going to be a big thing. We don't want it to look like gray cast or white cast on your face. So if you're a little bit darker, you definitely want to go for the gold, just that gold shade, and don't mix in any of the pink. If you're really fair, this gold might be too dark, so you might just have to go with only the pink shade. I'm in between, so I'm going to mix them together for the medium light girls. And all you want to do is take this around the cheekbone. I don't really like to bring it in too far on the face. I like for it to be pretty subtle. I think I talked too long and my brush dried out. So I take this up the cheekbone and around that brow just a little bit. Also, I'm going to take just a little bit of it down the bridge of my nose. My nose is kind of naturally shiny on the tip, so I just don't even add the highlight there. Next, I'm going to be taking Maybelline Fit Me blush. I'm alright if you guys don't get this exact blush because our skin tones are different, and some blushes that may look bright on one person don't look bright on another. Maybe it's too bright on another. So I'm going to be taking the Maybelline Fit Me blush in the shade Berry, and I'm just taking this on an angled contour brush and adding this on the apples of my cheeks. Don't bring it in any farther than halfway in the eye. And I press it onto that apple of the cheekbone, and then I blend it up into my contours. And you do want to go heavy on the blush. The first thing you're going to sweat off is probably going to be your blush. Also, if you think the blush is too much, I just take any brush, it's just my bronzer brush, and I dust it off. But I don't think we put on too much, so. Next step isn't necessary, but I like to do it because on show days you're going to be sweating. I just take my foundation powder And I apply it everywhere that we haven't applied any other sort of powder, just to set everything in place. And if you like to use a setting spray, go ahead. Again, it's optional. Lastly, we're gonna be applying our Almond Rose lipstick. That's gonna be it for this makeup tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section down below, or you can shoot me an email. It's gonna be in the description box. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I really hope you learned something from this, and I hope you have an amazing start to your season.